Canon EOS R6 Mark II with the 135 1.8 as well. I had some brief hands-on time with it yesterday at the time that you're watching this video, and I got to tell you guys, honestly speaking, this is going to be a hard camera to pass up for a lot of you out there that are looking for a camera between that $2,000 to $3,000 US range. This might be the camera you're going to have to pick up for video and also for photography. I walked away really impressed with, unfortunately, because of the situation, we had a pre-production camera in the office. I was not able to extract any photos from my session. I was only allowed to touch it basically inside the office and really outside by the balcony at Canon's office here in Singapore. Let's talk about the build quality, design, and the performance. It looks very reminiscent of the original R6, but there are some more physical buttons and dials on this. Case in point, there's a physical switch to switch from video to photo mode. I love this. I hated how they had implemented before. They go into the info and touch this and touch that. It was too many steps. Canon has simplified this. They started doing this already previously with other camera systems out there, but now they brought it to the R6 Mark II and it's fantastic. Also on the on and off switch, you now have a lock option as well. I like that so you don't knock anything in your bag. It's secure. The EVF is exactly the same as the original R6 as well as the rear display on it, so there's no changes in that way. And you only have two UHS 2 card slots. There is no CF Express Type B, which is a little unfortunate. But to Canon's credit, they've been able to maximize the performance with UHS 2 to the point that we're now getting the fastest burst mode out of any Canon EOS R system right now, 40 frames per second. And that is coming in with RAW and JPEG with AE and AF tracking. All that is included with 40 frames per second. Now, are we going to get any sort of rolling shutter versus the R3? They said the R3 is still better in that regard, but you are going to be able to shoot more frames per second. I have not been able to test this out. I will do that in the full review when we get a review unit, but I can tell you just in my brief hands-on, it's pretty impressive. I would say it's kind of on par with the R5. So if you're gonna shoot sports with the R5 and you're happy with that, then I think you're gonna be very happy with this R6 Mark II in terms of the electronic shutter speed. This 24.2 megapixel sensor, they are saying it is different than the R3. The resolving power is very impressive. Now, part of that credit goes to the RF lenses, and I was trying the 135 1.8 and the 24 105, which is an older lens, but the 135 is a fantastic lens for portraiture. I'll talk about that later on. But the resolving power out of this sensor looked around 35, 36 megapixels thereabouts. It was really impressive. I'll show you some sample images that Canon provided for me in terms of cropping. And yeah, this is exactly what I was seeing as well with the images I was taking today. And if you want to see these images on a beautiful display, check out the ASUS Fold right here.
Video is brought to you by ASUS. Introducing the world's first 17-inch OLED foldable screen. The ASUS ZenBook 17 Fold OLED features 6 modes of using the laptop, including laptop mode, tablet mode, and desktop mode. It offers a laptop experience like no other with its big and beautiful 17.3-inch foldable OLED Nano Edge touchscreen, and transforms into a portable 12.5 powerhouse laptop when folded. Great for productivity enthusiasts.
The autofocusing system has improved. They've added a lot to this system, actually more than we're seeing out of other Canon cameras. So I'm guessing there will be a firmware update in the near future for the R5, again, maybe, or for the R3. But yeah, you can track planes, trains, motorcycles, cars, all that stuff. And now with planes, you can actually track the cockpit. Yes, it will lock onto the cockpit as the plane's flying, which is interesting. So they gave us a sample image of, let's say, an airliner plane taking off, and I was a little bit like, wouldn't it be better with a fighter jet? Because I think that's where you would really see that come into play. But yes, it does do that as well. Also, it does track horses now. Horses, and we'll show you some sample footage of what that looks like. Now, again, I cannot vouch if this box is exactly, or if this has been a little bit of DI done to the focusing box around it, but I will tell you, based on my limited time with the camera, this is kind of how it performed, but if there was no horses in the office. But I will say in terms of tracking, this is kind of what it looked like. Eye tracking, you can actually assign which eye you want it to lock on, left, right, or auto, let it do its thing. And I like this a lot because this is something I had an issue with the R3 when I was trying it out with some MMA fighting. I found it was always switching eyes and it was whatever eye was closest to the camera. And sometimes you don't want that. So I appreciate that they've now added this into the R6 Mark II. Also, what I do like too is if you just want to like say, I don't want to select, I just want it to be automatic, and whatever it sees it focuses on, there's a mode for that as well. So Canon has really beefed up the autofocusing system inside this camera to the point where I would arguably say, you know, Sony and Canon are neck and neck with A7R5, their new autofocusing system, and their kind of deep learning AI. You're getting that same technology into the Canon R6 Mark II. So it's going to be a battle royale between which is going to be the better autofocus. And I'm going to tell you, it's a really close call. This camera is damn impressive. And now in terms of color science, this is a tricky one because, everybody likes Canon colors, but, skin tones can have a little bit of a magenta look to them. But when I was shooting with this R6 Mark II, it didn't have that. It had a more warm, more realistic color to the image. So I did ask the representatives if there was a difference in terms of color science. Now, they would not confirm nor deny if there were any changes, but they say Canon's always improving things. But I can tell you what, this looked really good on skin tones, especially Asian skin tones. So if you're worried about that, do not be. Now let's talk video for a second. You can record up to 6K 60p out by HDMI to your Atomos Ninja 5, Ninja 5 Plus. You can do that now. But in terms of recording internally, it is 4K 60, no crop. Hey guys, Bobby from the future. 4K 60 without crop, up to 40 minutes of record time. 4K 60 with crop, up to 50 minutes of record time. No crop in 4K up to 30p, and no crop in full HD. Now back to the video. Now I don't know who would record 4K 60 for 40 minutes and beyond that, but that is the limitation. Outside of that, they have improved the heat management system in the camera, so 4K 30, 4K 24, 25p, it doesn't matter. You can record until the card runs out. There's going to be no overheating warning. So that's something they did tell me about and something they were very proud to talk about. So again, haven't tested it, but here in Singapore, we can really take it through its paces because it's hot and humid here year round. Those reviewers in Canada, they're freezing their ass off right now. Us, we're sweating our asses off. So we'll test it and we'll let you know how it performs in heat, especially here in Singapore. In addition to that, we got the new multifunction hot shoe to this, so that works with now some of the new Speedlights. So if you want to use that, that is now implemented. You got 5G connectivity. There's a lot of little things to this camera that are really interesting, but I'm just kind of highlighting some of the bigger points that came out as I was talking and experiencing this camera in the office for about an hour. I will tell you guys, if you're in the market for a Canon R series camera and you were thinking about an R6, hold off, look at this camera, because this is going to give you a lot more for your buck, and I think you're going to really be happy with it. Now, let's talk about this all-new 135 1.8. We don't know when this lens is going to launch exactly. They're making an announcement today, but I will tell you, I used it. I was not allowed to share images from it, again, because it was a pre-production lens, according to them, but it was beautiful. But it is a beast of a lens, coming around 996 grams. It's heavy, it's a big boy. It's got image stabilization inside the lens. You've got custom function buttons around the lens, so you can assign it to be whatever you want it to be, especially for focusing or not. But it is heavy. On the R6, it is definitely front heavy. I would recommend possibly getting a battery grip if you want to use this more long term. But I think for portrait photographers out there, wedding photographers, that you want a beautiful fall off, a beautiful bokeh, man. It is sublime how this lens performs. And the subject at 1.8 is tack sharp. Or even if you shoot animals and you want something with a 135 focal length, and you want that beautiful bokeh, this is a lens you need to seriously consider. I walked away surprised, but it is a heavy lens, okay? So keep that in mind. The new Speedlite, the EL-5, this is kind of in the same category as the 600EX thereabouts. This is a really nice Speedlite, but it is quite heavy. Now, in terms of quality of light, this is absolutely beautiful. I gotta hand it to Canon on this. I mean, it's a heavy sucker, but it really produces some beautiful light, up to 60 meters in distance. Of course, you can use it as a modeling light as well if you're shooting video. It's quite expensive. It's an investment for a Speedlite out there, but if you use this for your work, you're an events photographer, wedding photographer, or you just want an additional light source if you're shooting outside, you got to consider this thing. However, there is a but to this. You cannot use it with the R5. Canon considers the R5 an older camera in the system, and it's not updated to take advantage of this new lighting system from the Speedlite. So R3, R7, R6 Mark II, these newer cameras can maximize this. The R5, no. Are we gonna get an R5 Mark II? We got an R6 Mark II, and the R6 came out at the same time as the R5. Canon wouldn't tell me that, but I have a feeling an R5 Mark II may be coming out sooner than we think. If the improvements I'm seeing in this R6 Mark II go into an R5 Mark II, there's gonna be a lot of these cameras being sold, a lot. Anyway, those are my initial impressions on the R6 Mark II. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Are you looking to pick this up? Any other questions you have, I will try to answer them for you. We will be getting this camera for a full review in the near future. It goes on sale November 18th. We should get a camera around there. Give us a couple of weeks to test it out, and we'll get a video to you as soon as possible. With that, guys, take care, stay safe, subscribe to the channel, and I will chat to you soon. By the way, you want to see more of our camera reviews? Check out these videos right here.